So the next topic and the next fallacy I would like to talk about is the EU regulation, and the statement that EU regulation is crushing the UK, is, you know, smothering its growth, it's really restricting it, and if we leave the EU, we can free ourselves from all that, and we can be much more free and flexible and do as we like economically. Now, obviously, I don't dispute, to be honest, that potentially some of the EU regulation is overly onerous without really bringing any value. I mean, I'm sure that happens as it happens everywhere when someone puts in a regulation, because very often the people who write the regulation have not really worked in the industry they are regulating, happens sometimes, and then they can't really understand how painful and onerous that regulation can be. Now, however, in most cases there is a reason for regulation. I mean, for example, I mean, I work, I know regulation in financial services a bit, and now of course this is onerous, it's painful, but most of it is there for a reason, because there have been, as you probably know, there have been so many scams, so many abuses of consumers, so many financial crises by financial institutions, and as a reaction to each of them, a particular regulation has been imposed to make the financial system safer for economies and for consumers. And so a lot of that EU regulation has a purpose, has a sense, and therefore, let's say, if you left, it's unlikely that all of it would suddenly be abolished. Because, and that's the big fallacy or the big fantasy that the Brexit side is telling you, that once we are outside we will turn into a free market, Hong Kong, free riding, capitalist, liberal society. And you know, that's where maybe it's an advantage to be a foreigner, because you see with your eyes from the outside. I mean, I don't see the UK as an extremely capitalist country. I think, from what I see, the UK is a typical classic Western European high tax, high regulation welfare state. I mean, you're closer to France than you're to Hong Kong or Texas. I mean, in the United States, David Cameron would probably be considered a socialist. And that's because your political mainstream is just is very European. I mean, you, like everybody, like all the other Europeans, you care about workers' rights, you care about environmental protection, you care about consumer protection. I mean, you don't want chemicals, poisonous chemicals in the toys of your children. You don't want to eat food with hormones or genetically modified. You don't want your hair dryer to blow up on you when you turn it on. You know, I don't think, and I don't think you will accept a society which is as with no rules as the Brexit side is proposing it. And you can see that in the areas where you do your own regulation, because if the UK was such a capitalist country, then in the areas where the EU is not imposing any regulation on you, and there's a lot of them, you would have no rules. But that's not true. For example, if you look at your planning rules that regulate when and where and how you can build something, I mean, they are the most complicated in Europe. I mean, there's no place in Europe where it's more complicated to build something than in the UK. I have been involved in implementation of tax software in different countries across Europe, and I can tell you the UK is the second most complicated in terms of tax rules. I mean, the only country that's worse is Germany. I mean, they're really bad. It's really complicated. But second is the UK. It's worse than France. You have you have like 5 types of ISAs now. Your capital gain tax rules are very, very complex, extremely difficult to implement, and you have hundreds and hundreds of exemptions in your tax rules. So I don't see how, or unless there is a massive shift in your political mainstream, how you would suddenly move so much to the right that you would become this neoliberal fantasy that the Brexit side is selling you.